According to the World Health Organization, about 1 in 3 people over the age of 60 have already lost a significant amount of muscle mass. And the worst part is that many of them are not even aware of it. What few people realize is that a simple detail done before sleep may be silently accelerating this decline. There is an evening habit that could be compromising your strength, independence, and even your quality of life. If you are over 50 or live with someone at this stage of life, pay attention. Muscle loss is not just about aging. It affects balance, energy, immunity, and even mental health. And the most shocking part, there is an easy nighttime habit that can stop this muscle loss process, and almost no one is doing it. The information here is based on scientific research from respected institutions, such as Maastricht University, which proves the direct impact of what we eat before sleep on muscle preservation. And the best part, it doesn't involve expensive supplements, exhausting exercises, or drastic dietary changes. You will discover what lies behind muscle loss in the elderly, how nighttime habits interfere with it, and especially what can be done today to reverse this scenario. The video will show, step by step, how to implement a simple change that preserves your health in a practical and accessible way. Stay tuned because topic number 3 reveals the habit that can transform your nighttime routine and protect your muscle mass in a surprising way. What is sarcopenia and why does it accelerate with age? Few people know this, but losing muscle over the years is not a choice made by the body. It is a silent response to the absence of adequate stimuli. This process has a name, sarcopenia. It is the progressive loss of muscle mass associated with aging. And the most dangerous part is that this loss begins almost imperceptibly around the age of 40, but intensifies after 60. The body begins to replace muscle with fat, and this affects everything from the strength to get out of bed to the balance needed to walk on the street. Sarcopenia doesn't happen just because we are aging, but because the body understands that the muscle is no longer necessary. And when it realizes this, it starts saving energy by gradually reducing muscle mass. Imagine someone who moves less, sleeps poorly, eats carelessly, and has no physical stimulation. That person is practically handing out an invitation for sarcopenia to settle in. The good news, this can be reversed with simple actions. Several studies show that sarcopenia is directly linked to a lack of protein in the diet, poor sleep quality, and physical inactivity. But what's really striking is that all of this can happen even in people who consider themselves healthy. Muscle loss can progress even in those with an ideal weight, but who don't nourish their muscles correctly. And when this loss begins, the impact affects not only the body but also emotions. Feeling weaker, slower, and less independent affects anyone's self-esteem. Have you ever stopped to think about how many people around you are losing muscle without even realizing it? Maybe even you've felt that increased difficulty climbing stairs, carrying a heavy bag, or getting up from the couch. This isn't just age. It could be the beginning of a cycle of progressive weakening. And understanding this now is the first step to stopping this process. But why does nighttime have such a big impact on this equation? The next point will make this very clear. Why do nighttime habits affect muscle health so much in the elderly? Nighttime is when the body should be in its most efficient mode of regeneration. While we sleep, the body works hard to repair tissues, strengthen the immune system, and most importantly, rebuild muscles. However, this process depends directly on what is done before sleep. Irregular schedules, nutrient-poor dinners, and even the use of certain medications or beverages can completely block nighttime muscle recovery. Many people believe that only workouts or daily movement influence muscle health, but science has shown that nighttime habits play an even more decisive role. If the body enters sleep without the necessary amino acids, muscle regeneration simply does not happen. Instead, the body may start using its own muscle tissue as an energy source during the night. Want a practical example? People who eat dinner very early and don't consume anything else until the next morning go more than 10 hours without providing protein to the body. For those already undergoing aging, this prolonged gap can accelerate muscle loss. And when we add poor quality or frequently interrupted sleep to this, the scenario becomes even more critical. All this silently sabotages the muscles night after night. And before continuing, it's worth reflecting, what does your pre-sleep routine look like? Do you eat something light and nutritious, or do you skip it thinking you're doing the right thing? Share in the comments how this part of your day usually goes, because understanding this is essential to absorb what comes next. What could be done in a simple way to reverse this situation even during the night? The simple nighttime habit that can halt muscle loss, and almost no one does it. Few people know this, but consuming a slow-digesting protein source before sleep can be a game changer for muscle preservation. We're talking about foods like natural yogurt, cottage cheese, or even a casein supplement, which is a protein absorbed slowly by the body. By consuming this type of food about 30 to 60 minutes before going to bed, you ensure a steady supply of amino acids throughout the entire night. This habit is simple, inexpensive, and proven effective. Research conducted in the Netherlands, for example, showed that older adults who consume 30 grams of protein before sleeping can maintain active protein synthesis during slumber. This means that even at rest, the body continues building and preserving muscle mass. And the most interesting part, the results were observed even without drastic changes to their daytime diet. This is not about eating anything before bed. It's important to choose foods with high-quality protein that are slow to digest. A cup of warm milk, a handful of almonds, a small portion of ricotta with olive oil, all of these are viable options. But note, the key lies in consistency. A single day won't work miracles. It's the habit maintained over time that will curb muscle loss and restore the body's ability to regenerate. Many people skip this step out of fear of eating late at night, thinking it will lead to weight gain or poor sleep. But when the food is well chosen and in the right amount, the effect is quite the opposite. Now that the secret has been revealed, the question arises, what does science say about it? In the next section, we'll dive into studies that prove the impact of this practice on muscle results. Pay attention because the data is impressive. The importance of protein before sleep, what the studies say. For years, it was believed that protein intake should be focused on main meals, such as lunch or dinner. But recent studies have been challenging this logic. Research from Maastricht University showed that consuming protein before sleep activates nighttime protein synthesis and improves muscle response, especially in older adults. This happens because the body enters a state of deep repair while we sleep, and having amino acids available at this time is essential. In one of the most cited studies, two groups of elderly people were compared. One ingested casein protein before bed, the other did not. After a few weeks, the group that consumed the protein showed greater muscle mass retention, in addition to better physical performance. This happened even without increasing the level of physical activity, which shows that the impact of nighttime nutrition is real, direct, and powerful. The most surprising thing is that the benefits were felt even with small amounts. Around 20 to 30 grams were already enough to stimulate muscle anabolism during sleep. This is equivalent to a cup of Greek yogurt with a handful of seeds or a light protein shake. There's no need to overdo it, but rather to maintain a smart frequency. What's at stake here is not quantity, but strategy. And have you heard about this before? Have you tried consuming some light protein before bed? Share your experience in the comments. And if you haven't tried it yet, perhaps this is a simple opportunity to improve your muscle health without needing drastic changes to your daily routine. But of course, nutrition alone doesn't work miracles. Sleep plays a role that cannot be ignored, as we'll see next. The role of deep sleep in muscle recovery. While we sleep, the body doesn't just rest. It activates extremely complex regeneration processes, among them the rebuilding of muscle tissues damaged throughout the day. This process only happens efficiently during the deepest stages of sleep, especially the REM phase and so-called slow-wave sleep. It is at this time that growth hormone is released in greater amounts, directly stimulating protein synthesis. However, aging tends to naturally reduce the quality and depth of sleep. Older adults tend to have more nighttime awakenings, shorter sleep cycles, and lower melatonin production. All of this compromises muscle regeneration. In other words, even if the person is consuming enough protein, if sleep is impaired, the muscles will not be able to recover as they should. It's like trying to fill a leaky bucket. Studies show that adults with fragmented sleep experience more loss of lean mass over the years. This means that poor sleep doesn't just affect mood or concentration the next day. It silently attacks the body's structure. That's why creating a sleep-friendly environment becomes part of the strategy to keep muscles strong. Dim lights at night, regular sleep schedules, and avoiding screens in the final hours of the day are simple actions that make a difference. Here's a thought-provoking question. Are you truly resting or just lying in bed? If your sleep is light, interrupted, or restless, it might be time to rethink your routine. Because in the next point, we'll reveal behaviors that seem harmless but are silently undermining your muscle mass. And the worst part, these are habits many people have every day without realizing it. Common mistakes before bed that sabotage muscle mass. Many people believe that muscle loss comes only from lack of exercise or advanced age. But the truth is, some seemingly harmless nighttime habits are among the biggest saboteurs of muscle mass. One of the most common is sleeping after prolonged fasting. Going many hours without eating causes the body, in the absence of fuel, to start breaking down muscle tissue to generate energy. This is even more serious in older individuals, whose metabolism is already naturally slower. Another frequent mistake is consuming foods high in sugar or ultra-processed at the end of the day. This raises blood glucose, makes it harder to fall into deep sleep, and reduces the release of hormones essential for muscle repair. In the long run, this habit compromises not only muscles, but also insulin sensitivity, which can trigger a series of other health problems. Avoiding this type of eating at night is a basic but powerful step. We also cannot ignore the impact of intense visual and mental stimuli, such as using screens late at night. The blue light emitted by phones, TVs, and computers reduces the natural production of melatonin, harming sleep quality, and consequently, the muscle regeneration process. Establishing a routine of turning off devices at least 30 minutes before bed already brings noticeable benefits. So, think carefully. Is your nighttime routine helping or hindering your muscles? Sometimes small adjustments make all the difference. And now that you know the most common mistakes, the next step is to apply this knowledge in your daily life. Because understanding is not enough. Practice is what makes the difference. Now that everything has been revealed, an inevitable question arises: how many more nights will you let pass without taking care of your muscles? The truth is, aging doesn't have to be synonymous with frailty. With a simple nighttime habit, it's possible to preserve your strength, your independence, and above all, your freedom to come and go safely. And this is no exaggeration. It's science, it's practice, it's taking care of your body. The decision is in your hands. Will you keep ignoring what might be happening while you sleep? Or will you act now with what you have where you are? Adopting a smarter nighttime routine is easier than it seems. It doesn't require expensive medication or intense gym sessions. It requires choice, intention, discipline, and a good dose of curiosity to try something new and experience the results firsthand. Now tell me, do you already take care of your diet before sleeping? Have you ever heard about nighttime protein use? Write in the comments about your routine, share what you learned, and say what you plan to change starting today. Your story can help others who are going through the same challenge. And if this content opened your eyes, don't let it pass. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications because there's much more coming. Practical strategies, science-based tips, and information that truly changes lives. Because taking care of your body isn't vanity, it's survival. And the journey is just beginning.